Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of That Podcast. My name is Ryan Janke, and as always, and I don't care that Sarah's not here to
it's as always.
Yeah, it's as always because, as always, I'm with Pastor DJ Lura, and whenever we do a telethon, we have Dave Gunnlaugsson. There it is.
I didn't know we had a live crowd here.
Well, yeah.
It's huge.
It's the telethon. Dave, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I love it. Love being with you guys again.
Good. We're glad you're here.
I like the setup better too. Last year we were like on these like panel tables, and I was sitting about 100 feet away from Dave, and I could barely see him.
It kind of echoed back to me as you spoke. I had to wait for it to get to me.
All right, there's a delay. So now we're right here, and this is great, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to have you here.
So, how's the weather compared to last time you were here? I don't even remember.
You know, it was a balmy 48 this morning when I woke up. And so I don't ever get to come to Fargo unless it's below 50 for sure.
You're going to think it's like this all the time, and for the most part it is.
Yeah, right. So when I pulled up last night in my shorts and sandals, I was not quite prepared for the weather.
It is such a schizophrenic way to live. If for those who can see us now for a change, I have on like 4 layers and a sweatshirt, and Ryan has on just a t-shirt, and he probably has shorts on. I'm not going to look, but you know, it's for me in the fall when it gets below 50 degrees. That's sweater time, because then I feel safe.
That's terrible.
But you ever notice though that when spring comes, it hits 50. It's
because you're acclimated. You're acclimated by then. No, it's got to be shorts weather until at least 30 degrees, I think.
Yeah. At least?
At least.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, though, because when I was in college, I remember I was that kid who was going to wear shorts all year. So all through the winter, walking to classes in Iowa wearing shorts. Now I'm like, what was I doing? It's cold.
Well, that was my experience moving back here. When I was in high school, I lived in the Seattle area and lived there since I was 10. But I moved back here when I was 18. And you could tell at about the beginning of October who was from North Dakota and who wasn't.
Absolutely, yes.
Because all of us who hadn't lived here for a good chunk of time were in like full snowsuits, and it's 50 degrees outside.
That's great. So, well, Dave, we're happy that you came back. Love seeing you.
Thanks. It's so good.
I do have a bone to pick with you, though.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing the gauntlet down right away.
And it's
clearing the air right away.
Yep. So we went on a mission trip down to Minneapolis.
Yes.
And I walked in. We did the permanent site two times.
In Coon Rapids?
In Eagan.
In Eagan, okay.
Yeah, in Eagan. And I walked in and I said, hey, anybody know Dave Gunnlaugsson around here? And they're like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. They claimed you.
Okay.
Yeah, they claimed you. And they said, actually, he said you guys were going to be here. So he wasn't. Oh. No, they never said that. They did say that you were going to try to make it, but you didn't make it. So I thought you were stiffing us.
No, definitely not. In fact, you know, it's crazy. 2 years ago before COVID, I was at Eagan every day. And now my desk is gone. I work from home, and I don't even have a desk at Eagan anymore. And so we've changed things around quite a bit, so I don't get there very often anymore.
Yeah, they said that you were along like the other side of town, right?
Actually, I live, as I tell people, I get to live in Wisconsin, so I get to live on God's side of the river. And so I get to go home to the promised land every night. So
that's funny. So I tell you what, we're doing things a little bit different. As you can see, we are live at the FMSC Fargo MobilePack Telethon. And, well, now they walked away, so we must be good. I was getting word that we might be a little too hot for on air, but it looks like, are we good now?
You mean the mics, right? Not,
bring the mic closer to your face. I gotcha.
Nice.
There you go.
When you say we're too hot, Ryan, I thought you were implying that we have faces made for podcasts.
I thought that's what they were implying.
It's certainly war.
But evidently we were too loud is what the deal was. So, well, again, I'm just ribbing you.
Of course.
We're glad you're here. We're glad that you came up here for the second
Annual telethon.
And I was actually there that time in Egan. You just couldn't recognize me with my face mask and hairnet on. So
That's true.
I've been able to fly under the radar a little more these days.
You have a great staff there in Egan. I'm sure everywhere, but they were wonderful.
Well, I can't say enough about Egan. And what people don't know, this maybe about our permanent sites, is when we first closed down when COVID happened, for that whole summer before we could have volunteers back until we figured it out, our staff came and packed every day.
Oh, wow.
And so they stood, those staff, and packed 8 hours a day every day to make sure food kept happening. And so all of our sites across the country, our permanent sites, really the hats off. They kept this thing moving while we were trying to figure out what was going to be next. And they've been incredible throughout this entire thing.
That's crazy because I'll do a 2-hour session.
Right.
And I realize the permanent site's different from the mobile site. The equipment's a little bit different. But, like, I will do the sealer. Right. And at the mobile site, my back is screaming at me after the time is up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine them doing that for 8 hours a day.
For most of
every
the
day.
summer, they packed 40 hours a week.
Wow.
I'd be breaking out the icy hot.
Oh,
the ice packs.
man. Yeah. Did you bring in ice baths for them?
It's funny. We packed with the New York Giants about, 6 or 7 years ago in New York City when I was there.
Really?
And one of their starting linebackers came up to me afterwards. He had been doing the bags. He's like, this is harder than training camp. My back is killing me.
Yeah.
I made the offhanded comment to him, this is why you don't win many football games. But after we got through that moment with him, but really it was, even an NFL football player, this ripped guy was just saying, that is a bit tedious if you do it for a long time, that same bag thing over and over. So
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan, we got an announcement.
We are now joined by the one and only, and if you're watching live, you can't see her right now, we'll get that fixed, Amy Okeson.
Hello.
Amy, how's it going? There she is. We'll get it fixed, Amy.
A huge,
Well, it's all right. I'm not worried.
A huge fan of our live studio audience.
Yes.
Amy Okeson.
I had to have a lunch break in there, so thank you all for just starting and rolling with this here.
Well, yeah, no problem.
This is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
That's right. 10 hours today.
There she is.
Yeah.
All right.
Hello, my friend.
There she is. So
And did you guys give the updated total? I hear we have an updated
we
total.
have an updated total. This is as of 1:23 p.m.
That's right.
Are you giving it?
It is, sure.
Oh, wait,
Do you
wait.
have it? Do you have the exact? Oh, we
Wait,
need a
what do I
drum
gotta do
roll.
now?
We have the exact number right in front of you.
Here, we're going to break some
Nope,
glass.
that's not. the
Oh,
exact
that's not
number.
it?
The
Oh.
exact number is $22,020.
Wow.
5,000 more than that.
Wow.
That's phenomenal.
And that was probably 5 minutes ago when I kind of right at lunch. So I bet it's even more now.
That
so thank
is
you, my friends.
fantastic.
that puts us at right about $7,000 an hour.
That's right.
And so if we could get that hourly total up, and this could be quite a day here.
That's right. And all these people who are going to hear this podcast next week, thank you for humoring us. And you can continue. You can continue to give at fmsc.org/Fargo to help us feed 5,479 kids for a whole year.
Amy, just before you walked in, we were talking about the permanent sites and how the staff at those permanent sites packed all summer long, 40 hours a week,
things
packing
going.
meals.
That's right. Just non-stop. And I think about that now, for 2 hours, I praise them and for the back pain they probably had from standing that way all day. But they believed in feeding kids, and it was a way that they could continue to be active, right,
Yeah,
Dave?
I mean, the things that happened early on in the pandemic and the ways that people chipped in to figure this out. We were down for just a very short amount of time before staff had found a company that could machine pack. And then our staff was back in the site shortly thereafter packing every day. And so it was amazing to watch folks rally. There was no quit in this group for sure.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how are things going now as of today?
Yeah, as of today, I mean, it's a bit crazy still because if you would have asked me back when we relaunched MobilePack on June 1st officially, I assumed we may have made all these rules and all these changes and social distancing and masks and, checking questions when people came in the door. I thought by November of this year we'd be in a different place. But, certainly we're not. That's not the case. And so we've continued to adapt. So, we're excited that we've had close to 40 to 50 mobile packs already happen. We have over 100 on the calendar for this fiscal year. All of our sites are open 6 days a week, still packing. somebody has now donated a machine to Feed My Starving Children. So we have our own facility now in Eagan where we're doing machine packing as well to supplement.
That's cool.
It was an incredible donation from one of our mobile pack families. And it really is, food is continuing to happen at a rapid pace.
So I guess I kind of wonder, in pretty much every industry, every business, every ministry, you've had to adapt over the last year and a half. What were some of the really, when it came to a realization that we're going to need to put the mobile packs on hold for a season and figure out how to do this? I mean, was there some dreaming going on as to how to make it efficient and work, even if you can't have people meeting? And then when you reopen, what the protocols were going to be?
Yeah, I mean, so a couple of things maybe to speak to that. So we had laid off 58 mobile pack staff last August. And there were 6 of us that remained, and the 6 of us spent pretty much every day together for the next year trying to create a safe program. Mm-hmm. We have a team at FMSC now that meets every Wednesday, our COVID team, and they're looking at all of our sites, at our staff, at our mobile packs, making sure that safety continues to happen. Mm-hmm. And so really, and the adaptations would be most of our staff now works from home as a way of just continuing to do the work. But really the biggest difference of this last year and a half, 2 years of COVID has been the FMSC base all over the country, really all over the world. The donations have continued to pour in.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
In ways that we could never have imagined. The donations have been incredible. Even from hosts who couldn't do their event, hosts were still sending money in to support. And then we were able to unleash these machine packers to continue to pack food at a crazy pace. Mm-hmm. And so we're so thankful. Really, that was what kept the machine moving forward, is even when we couldn't have our normal volunteers in the door, there was still amazing donations coming in consistently. We moved, one of the biggest things we've done is we moved all of our events, our gala events and our other fundraising events online. Mm-hmm. And just this last fall, we took everybody on what we call a Fiat trip, which is a food and action trip. And people could join us online and go have an experience walking through the Philippines and seeing this food firsthand. And so we've adapted in those ways, a lot of online activity. But really things are starting to come back, at least with our volunteers, are coming back more and more all the time.
Now, every government on the planet has had to react, some very similar, some very different to what's been going on with the pandemic. Was there hurdles in keeping your international relationships intact? This
is where our amazing partners come into play. You imagine a country like Uganda where they shut the whole place down. Mm-hmm. People who go out and get food every day, hand to mouth. So we have our partners who got permission to deliver food by motorcycles or deliver it to individual families. And so what our partners have been able to do to continue to get food in, I mean, our partners in Haiti have seen an assassination. They've seen another earthquake. They've seen hurricanes. And yet they have figured out, we can move food around at different times of the day and have continued to be able to get food moved around the country. Mm-hmm. And really one of the coolest things has been the networks in country. We've created these things years ago, that groups that we introduced all of our partners together in country. Mm-hmm. And they've been communicating with each other so much. In Haiti, we had a partner yesterday share that when the earthquake hit a different part of Haiti, he called up and said, I have 2 containers. Let's get those down there right away, knowing that FMSC would resupply him. Yeah. And that kind of relationship in country too has been critical in all the places we serve. So
just see Christ working, you see the Spirit working in the midst of all this stuff. Just it's humbling. It's humbling to see it.
Yeah, we call them our crops groups, and they really have changed the game in a lot of countries that we serve in. We have some bigger partners that can get containers in for a lot cheaper price. And so they help get the containers in for some of these smaller organizations that may be more. It's been amazing to watch the teamwork happen.
Very cool.
Just that I don't know how to. It's hard to put it into words, but just to hear about, not to sound too crass, but God has a way of squeezing the love out of sinners, and how people come together. This isn't easy work, even when things are in the best circumstances.
Right.
But to see people giving even more, giving of their heart and loving on their neighbors, it's an amazing thing. It's a God thing.
Well, you see it even today in Fargo that somebody will stop by a church on a Thursday afternoon and write a large check to feed kids. Right. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah. You're driving around Fargo, you're in a church parking lot, you walk in, maybe they belong to the church, maybe they don't. They've come in, they've given money to feed kids. It's amazing to watch it unfold.
Yeah.
That's right. And I don't know if you guys got to talk before I came in about last week I had the opportunity to be on a Lunch and Learn with Mark Crea, CEO of FMSC, and Genia Obrand, partner relations from in the Caribbean for Feed My Starving Children. And they told some amazing stories about what it takes for that food to get from a warehouse, a Feed My Starving Children warehouse, to where it goes. I mean, Dave, do you want to tell a little bit about those stories, about all the steps it goes through?
Yeah. I mean, when it's packed and prayed over at our warehouse or at a MobilePack, just imagine it's in a warehouse. You know, we joke about this a lot, that if you're going to have a food relief organization globally, Minnesota's a tricky place to do it. There's no water anywhere near. There's lots of lakes, but they don't work, to get
Right.
But it does leave our place, typically goes to the coast at some place, whether that's the East Coast or down to Galveston or out to Florida, and then leaves, or out to the California, and then leaves there by boat. And imagine how long that takes to get there. And then when it arrives in port, it has to clear customs. It has to get through customs. That itself is a process.
Yep.
And then the real fun begins.
Yeah.
We have stories from parts of Asia where food is trickier to get in at this time, where it's coming in by truck, it's going to motorcycles, it's going to people carrying it on their backs, it's going on motorcycles, it's going in small boats. And so really, if the rice could tell a story by the time it gets from where it started to where it ends, I thought it would be so great one time if we could have a video just watching the rice being harvested to where it ends up. It'd be amazing, the frequent flyer miles that a grain of rice will have by the time it gets to where it's supposed to go. And so it really is an amazing journey. And yet when I was in Honduras about 6 years ago, picking up a bag of food and realized it had been packed just 6 weeks ago in Minnesota, and now was in Honduras.
That's right.
And so...
I think about too, like you guys are still able to keep those supply lines open year round. You hear about all these supply shortages and ships being just off the coast and unable to unload. Have you found any issues with your supplies being able to get where they need to go?
Yeah, I mean, our supply chain team has been unbelievable over the last few years. And they have said to us now, for example, when you're planning mobile packs, somebody called me today and said, can we do a mobile pack in November? Before, we wouldn't have been able to say, sure, let's do it. Now the reality of it is we need 12 weeks or more just to get stuff in the door to get back to those events. So that's taking a little bit longer. But really, they have continued to shift our supply chain folks to order supplies out far enough in advance to make sure we have bulk product to get out. And as far as shipping it overseas, the biggest thing we always wrestle with in Minnesota in particular in the winter is just getting enough containers.
Right.
That's not going to change. We have also, we lost some relationships with trucking companies when we were closed for that year for MobilePack. And so we're doing situations now where trucks are showing up at MobilePack, so we have to unload it live. They leave for 3 days, go do more work, come back, and we live loading, not leaving trucks in places. And so just lots of adaptation on the fly to make sure that events can still happen and food is still getting out the door.
Efficient and faster.
Yes.
More moving pieces, though.
More creativity than we've ever known before, for sure.
Yeah.
More prayer needed for sure.
Yes. I mean, really, the amount of staff it takes to get a meal to where it needs to go now is more than it has been before because of all the creativity that involves. But yeah.
So how many?
You're definitely playing chess, not checkers. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yes. Waiting for that long play move.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
How many events did you say that you've done so far?
I'd say we're probably 30. We relaunched June 1st. We started pretty slow in the summer, and we had a few churches that just said, we'll take this chance with you. Really amazing churches that stepped up into that kind of first event of what is this going to look like. And it really has picked up speed now that we're probably doing 5 or 6 a weekend here through October and into November. So things are happening again.
And I'm sure even from the time you started until now, the rules have changed how you have to do things.
We worked a year on this process. We did 2 practice events in April. We relaunched June 1st. And 2 weeks later, CDC changed all the guidelines again.
Yep.
And so it's been an ongoing thing. And the tricky part is, at any given day, I'll talk to somebody in Utah, California, North Dakota, out east, down south. Every one of those conversations is different.
Yep.
And everybody has different regulations and different mandates. And so our staff, God bless them, have been so flexible to, here we're wearing masks, here we're not, here we're doing this, here we're doing this. And you just have to kind of take each event. We've really treated each event as if it's never happened before.
Okay.
And we're planning events now as if they've never happened, working through all the safety protocols, making sure everybody's up to speed. It's just a little bit more of an intense process than it has been before.
Yeah. It's neat though that you are being flexible like that, because there are probably places where there's more strict regulations. You can't have as many people in, so you're not setting one policy for everybody. You're being flexible to be able to maximize what you're able to do depending where you're at.
Yeah, and there are some things that we can't budge on because we are an FDA organization. We have to have social distance and packing. We have to have smaller numbers of people. But last weekend, and we were at an event in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and their team called and said, we are not under a mask mandate. we would feel better if we had masks worn here. And it was met with very little pushback. And people understood it was because there was a lot of folks together and a lot of kids together that they did that. And we had great turnout there. So
Very cool. Very cool.
Focus on the cause, not the hindrances.
That's right. And that's what we talk about here. You know, we're going to do the hard things. Would we love to be back with 700-800 people a shift? Yes. But it's important that we do continue to love our neighbor, do what we need to do to be safe, but be able to feed these kids. And if that means a few more shifts or we spread out and we need more room between the stations, you know, we made the choice that we are going to do this. And we look at it kind of like last year, we didn't get to pack in person here in Fargo-Moorhead at all. This year, we get to do it at more kind of like a three-quarter rate, we're kind of calling it. And by next year, we hope to be able to be back at full speed. And it's important to be able to keep those meals going out, to keep feeding the spirits of local people, to allow them to come and volunteer, to come and give like you are now, to support this organization and to keep building that up. Because working with volunteers is so much about the DNA of Feed My Starving Children. And we've been blessed that they were able to find that way to use Machine Pack to keep the food going out, because the need is so great. You know, you talk about so many people around the world. The partners keep saying over and over that this is their only hope. This is the only consistent place they can get food from. And we have to keep doing what we can to be able to keep packing this food, because the need is so huge.
So I'm looking forward to when we get to be, you know, get our hands dirty and be and be doing the pack. But I do have a question about how to motivate a smaller group to pack as much food. Have you sped up your song playlist to 1.5 times?
No.
Would you be interested in a speed metal workout playlist that I have made for when I do my martial arts workouts, or Ryan's youth ministry playlist in the car? Because that really gets people bumping.
Actually, I have a question before you answer that.
Oh boy, here it comes.
Well, no, this is for DJ. Actually, this is for DJ.
Oh, okay.
With as effective as it is, have you worked Sweet Caroline into your
We
your
love
set
our
list?
Sweet Caroline.
I'm gonna add that later today, because that one just slipped my mind. Why it's not in my playlist already, I have no idea. I think Beastie Boys and Sweet Caroline is a nice mix.
I think the Beastie Boys singing Sweet Caroline would be good.
Oh my. Sometimes I wonder though, Sweet Caroline is like everybody sings along and loves it, and it brings the energy up in the room. But I wonder, are we packing while we're singing Sweet Caroline?
Well, and so I use a playlist for a workout that I do, because I do martial arts, and it just kind of keeps me going. I don't know if I can stop and go ba 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 halfway through it. So
Maybe 3 punches instead.
3 punches. There we go.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I don't remember if we've talked about this off air or if we talked about it when we recorded the podcast last year. But you have a specific set list, right? That you found works well, right?
Yeah, I mean, there certainly are, you know, if you want people to slow down packing, if it's too fast, you play YMCA. It's just a given, you know. And this is maybe one of the greatest points of tension with our staff, because these folks, you know, they've heard the
They
same.
hear it over.
Sweet Caroline for staff is like nails in their eyes. You know? And so it's just
That's why they were flinching every time.
They're like, they twitch when we ask for it, and they're like, oh, I suppose.
And sometimes you just, you know, they're like, I used to hear this line all the time when I was supervising, can I just play my music? Well, no. It takes too much explanation to people what it is, first of all. And really, music, it's amazing still. Even with smaller groups of people, the impact that music has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think, especially now,
Yep.
when I was at a few events last weekend, I think people are so excited to be in a room with other people, singing along, celebrating, doing something that feels normal, that the music becomes, dare I say, almost healing for people in that situation, just to be together. So
That's one of Martin Luther's famous sayings, that aside from the Holy Spirit working through the Word, the Holy Spirit works through music.
it's very true.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about the Beastie Boys, but
Probably
not. That's another podcast down the road. Although Luther isn't they?
We're getting
aren't they the ones that
comments
sing-
from the tech room saying, play Sweet Caroline. We're like, the requests are coming in.
Didn't Beastie Boys sing "You Have to Fight for Your Right to Party"? Is that
They did.
Yeah.
So
my.
really,
There you go.
we're fighting for our right to MobilePack. Maybe we work that song in.
Let me just say that Michael W. Smith doesn't have the same kind of bass beat that gets you going as the
drive.
Beastie Boys
Doesn't
does.
drive.
So.
Oh, but we can play Why Can't I Praise Him as Loud as I Want. Come on now. There's a new one.
And with Michael W. Smith, you probably don't have to screen it before you.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of beeping out of words. And we can be friends forever with Michael W. Smith. So really,
Absolutely.
we could keep going. Any
We
Amy
could
grants,
keep going. Oh, maybe we should. This is fun though. This is what makes the podcast fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David Crowder's
But-
got some bumps to him.
He's got some bum.
Got some bumps. Or what's the word you learned on the youth mission trip? What is
Bussin'.
We're if we use it, it sounds old.
Right.
But-
Bussin'.
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 Yeah,
They
all of
just
us
take- they
parent
just-
age people can't use these words.
They've just taken the word.
against the rules.
There's a thing that's just gone on social media that says take that word out now because some adults have used it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're not using bus anymore because adults just said online.
Because they just found out. Well, it's funny because we will do game night every so often at Pastor Cross's place, and I used that. One of the girls that was there, I can't remember if she's junior or senior, but she tried something. I said, "Hey, was that bussin'?" And she just gave me this
No,
blank stare.
Don't do it. Don't
If
do
by
it.
any chance there was a
No.
teenager listening to this podcast, they've just turned it off.
Yep, it's
Yeah,
done. It's
I'm
done.
Just like
It's over.
we're getting the
We've
maximum eye
alienated-
roll.
We've alienated the 12 to 25 demographic right there.
Yep. So we're going to be doing this today until 8:30 this evening, right?
That's right.
We're hoping to raise.
$480,000. We're trying to get at least halfway there today. So $200,000 today would be great.
Yes, and this is going to go toward the pack.
That's right.
And
So-
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm like, we're getting
She's-
there, right?
y- y-
See, I'm like anticipating what he's going to say.
She's antsy, ladies and gentlemen. She loves this. This is her wheelhouse. So
She's
go
fired
ahead.
up. She is fired up today.
So we are going to pack meals together February 2nd through the 5th, 2022. Not 2020. We're not going back. We're not going back to
Let's not
2020.
do that.
Let's not do that. February 2nd through the 5th, 2022 at Shields Arena, the Fargo MobilePack. Our entire community, our entire region will come together to pack 2 million meals. But we have to pay that grocery bill for those meals, $480,000. We're going to work with over 8,000 local volunteers over 13 shifts. We've got large groups scheduled now. And so, we're just very passionate about being able to do that after having a whole year off.
Yeah.
It was hard for us to not be able to pack last year. And we talk about, the emotional things going through the polar vortex and shifts canceled in 2019 and then and 2020 packing 2 million meals. And then we were one of the last packs in 2020, kind of before the pandemic hit the end of January. There were a few more and then they had to shut down that spring. And so last year we decided to do something creative and do this telethon, a one-day telethon like we're doing now on the day, like the Thursday that the pack would have started. And so last year we were able to raise over $100,000 for those machine pack meals last year. But we are so excited to be able to come back and pack this year. We weren't sure, how things were looking, but we know, yes, there's some rules we have to follow, some social distancing. There's screening questions when you come. When we open registration to the public, we want you to try to register as a group of 10 to fill a whole table because there'll be 10 people at the table so we can maximize the most amount of people volunteering so that they can, that we can fill people in body and spirit. Because when you come and pack, all of you have done it before, how much it fills your spirit. We're talking about the songs and the energy. We say it's the most fun you can have in 2 hours, right?
In a hairnet.
In a hairnet. And to know that we can do that. So whatever kind of work that has to happen, raising funds, the scheduling, the talking to people, the explaining it, what we have to do at the arena, all of it will be worth it because we will feed kids and we will get to have an amazing time over that 4 days at Shields Arena.
And Amy, sorry to interrupt, but I don't
Yeah.
think that $480,000 is an unreasonable amount. When
Oh, no.
you and Pastor Cross were talking about this on Sunday, you break it down. That's 480 families or small groups or life groups or businesses that are in earshot of this telethon, investing $1,000 to feed children and to feed your neighbor.
That's right.
To feed those in need. And when we think about, the amount of disposable income that we have, and $1,000 is a lot of money, but it's totally doable to go to do something that is going to bless others and bless you. That if there's 480 groups that are listening to this today, now's the time. Now's your opportunity
That's right.
to go and do this. The Holy Spirit may be poking you in the back on this. Here's your chance to be a part of this, and it's super exciting, and it's totally doable.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And if you're part of a small business or a smaller organization or a small group, maybe you look around and go, we have 9 employees that work here. What would it look like if we gave enough money to feed those 9 employees for a year?
Mm-hmm.
Or any kind of looking at the situation that you're in. What would it look like to donate enough to feed my family for a year or to feed my small group for a year? It can be all kinds of creative ways that you can do it to say, man, if I had these 9 people with me for the next year and I could feed them for a year by this donation, I would certainly do that.
Yeah.
And so just like you said, breaking it down to those smaller numbers really makes a huge difference.
Yep.
And I love, and not only breaking it down that way to looking at it, how am I feeding, when you think about your employees or your team members. And I want to think, we've had the entire West Fargo High School come pack with us. About over 1,000 kids come pack. And what, they can't raise that money. It's about, each person packs about $50 worth of food, So people always ask us, why doesn't everybody just pay for what they pack when they come? Well, if you're coming with your family of 6 and $50 a person, that might be outside of your budget for your family of 6. But somebody else who does have the ability to give the $1,000 can help to allow, $1,000 means that is like 20 kids can pack because you gave that gift. And I want you to think about those 20 kids in that classroom, in that high school, the impact that has on their life. That this is more for us than feeding kids. This is about the impact we have on these students and why we work so hard to raise this money so that these students can come pack. Because we have seen all of the data that shows that volunteerism, what it does to help the development of a young person, what it helps them learn, it gives them purpose, it gives them this understanding that they are helping someone else, and that maybe even though their life might be upside down and crazy, they might not have much, it gives them hope themselves. We talk about the hope that the food has on the people that are receiving it. I want to talk about the hope that these kids get when they see that they can help someone else, that they can make a difference. And maybe that is something that has never crossed their mind before because of the situation that they're in life. They get that hope and they're like, you know what? I can make a difference. I can go to college. I can go to tech school. I can go get this job. I don't have to stay stuck in this rut that I'm in or in this depression or negativity or whatever that I have going on. It gives them hope to go and make a difference. And they see us as a community coming together to give, to work together. They see people loving their neighbor, and that makes such an amazing difference in their lives long term.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the flip side of that too, one of the coolest things we're starting to discover at Feed My Starving Children as well is now we've been around for 30 plus years. We're starting to see kids who are now adults.
That's right.
Who ate this food as a kid, and the difference it has made for those kids too and who they're becoming.
We
have a video that we share now from a gentleman in Haiti who grew up on the food, came to a pack, had a chance to eat it, realized what it was. He is now supporting kids in Haiti, sending them to school. And so not only kids here whose lives are changed, but kids internationally as well.
That's
Imagine
right.
who these kids are becoming in their communities. Now that they've had a chance to get an education, have some hope, and what they're doing to bless their communities as they grow up too.
Absolutely.
That's very cool. So, Amy, I know it's early, but what sort of buzz are you finding around the community?
Well, when we started doing publicity for this, we have some billboards in town. We've sent some letters. We've sent some emails. We've been communicating. And then out of the work came the people that want to volunteer. So we have the community interest has been huge. And we weren't sure. We were, again, something else you can pray for is that we would be able to find all the volunteers. But I have been overjoyed just in the last week with the number of groups that have come forward saying, yes, we still want to have our group of 300. Yes, our church still wants to come as a whole. New groups like Holly Lutheran and existing groups like Atonement and Bethel and Bell Bank all wanting to still come, and the schools still wanting to come. And it just breaks my heart, that we can't have all the schools, but we have to do what we need to do to be safe. And I want people to understand the arena costs money. It's part of what we're raising money for now. We have to rent a large venue. That costs money too. Yeah. So people are like, why don't you just do more days? Well, there's lots of factors that go into this, and you never know. God works in amazing ways. Yeah. But
this is chess, not checkers.
That's right. And so far we have like 4 or 5 schools lined up and like 4 churches and 3 businesses, and they keep calling, and I haven't checked my email at all today. So we'll see so there is definitely a desire in the community to serve. And so we just want everybody to understand that there's a grocery bill associated with us serving. And if we come together to raise this money, to raise the $480,000, we get to have it. I just want people to understand it's, that money has to come from somewhere. We have to raise it in the community. So if everybody just gives a little bit, we will get there.
Yep.
Yes.
And
so we're going to be going for another 9 minutes? Is that right?
I think so.
For this
episode?
episode?
We're going to take this up to 2:00.
So do you have anybody, like we did a Bag and Strindon this morning?
That's right.
Had a match. Do we have any more coming up this afternoon?
We do. Well, we had that. Well, right now we're in the middle of a challenge to match. We had a $5,000 anonymous gift come in, and so I issued a personal challenge saying, "Hey, let's see if we can match this anonymous donor." So I don't know where we are in that in this hour, but we have 2 more. We have a match from Summit Sightworks, and we have a match from Atonement Lutheran so far. And hey, if you're a business owner or an individual out there and you want to make a gift and say, "Hey, I want to challenge other people to match my gift," let us know. Call us on that phone number, 701-237-9651. And even if you hear this next week, you can still do it then. And you can call us and say, "Hey, I want to make this gift and I want to see if somebody can match it in the next 15 minutes or whatever." We would love to do that all day, but there's going to be 2 more. Another one we're going to issue here, I think probably at about 2 or 3 o'clock, and then another one this evening for sure that we know of, and we'll see what happens throughout the day, thanks to amazing people like those that are watching and listening.
Yeah.
You know what I love? It means that nobody in Fargo knows their own telephone number anymore because you just know it's but everybody knows the number to Atonement Lutheran Church.
Exactly.
In the Fargo area.
That's great. Well, hopefully we can get an updated total here before we go, but as we heard at the beginning of the episode, someone is not here with us right now.
Yeah.
But Sarah feels as though she would like to ask a question.
Oh.
Awesome.
She would like to know, what is your favorite job when packing?
Oh my. So for those that aren't familiar at the people, for those that haven't joined us, when you come, there's people who put the date labels on the bags. There's people at the station there's people who scoop rice, soy, vitamins, and veggies. There's people who are holding the bag on the funnel. There's people who are then taking the full bag and weighing it to make sure it's the right weight. Then they send it down, and then it's sealed, and then it's put in a box. And then there's warehouse people that are moving the big buckets of rice and soy and vitamins and veggies to the station. And then there's also these warehouse people that are moving the full boxes to the station. So I do want to, I'll tell you guys last, but I want to know what your favorite things are too. I love Sarah's question.
Boy, okay, so I really enjoyed working in the back, working in the warehouse, only because one, I didn't have to think about what I was doing. There was always someone who would tell me what I needed to do.
Yell at you even.
Yeah, and needing to yell because it's so loud in there anyway. Yeah. But really quick to change on the fly. Like every job that needed to be done, we were all trained in advance. So it wasn't just doing the same thing for 2 hours. It was wrapping. It was at one point I was digging through a gigantic bag of rice just to double check that it was all ready to go. And putting marks on the outside. There's so many different pieces that need to be done. I'd say working in the warehouse was the most enjoyable experience for me, and also the hardest. In that, by the time I was done in 2 hours in the warehouse, I was worn out.
Yeah.
Not this year. Not with your playlist this year. You'll be ready to go.
Yeah,
year.
That's right. But when I did that was a couple years ago when it was like the polar vortex and it was 90 below, and we kept opening and closing.
Well, you just got tired because you were wearing so many clothes.
That's true.
Here
That
comes
is
Mark.
true.
Oh, no.
Oh my, what's he got?
I don't know.
Sarah.
It's a picture of Sarah.
Oh, good.
Oh,
Sarah.
Sarah's with us.
She's-
Hi, Sarah.
She's listening, and she had other commitments, I believe. Either that,
And I think I stole her headset, so
yeah.
sorry,
well,
Sarah.
I wasn't going to say it, that Amy kicked her to the curb, but
We did not. And Sarah
just joking.
and her business is managing all of our social media for Feed My Starving Children Fargo. So thank you, Sarah. So
she just cut us off
this-
Facebook right there.
yeah, she's gonna be like, so much for you. I'm not promoting this anymore.
No,
Oh my gosh.
So she has another question. We'll see if we
We
get
didn't
to it.
answer the
what's
first
your-
question.
Well, I
What's
know.
your favorite thing?
I said we'll see if we get to it, but we have to finish this round of questioning. I like, even though it does make my back scream, I like to do the sealing and the packing of the boxes. In fact, I've kind of found that I'm sort of like a stand back. I'll get this box packed myself because I like to have it flipped just right. And I found a new technique for making sure that I have them right when I was at the permanent site. So
Nice.
I'll share it with everybody off air.
Oh,
'cause-
secret skills.
Yeah.
We'll have a secret training at the Shields Arena this year.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep. So I'm a boxing ninja.
The ceiling ninja.
Sealing and boxing. Yeah, I'm kind of protective of it. So
Well, I know this will shock you guys. I often get kicked out of scooping because I'm talking too much. So I personally love to be at the boxing station, which is different now. We don't have a table anymore for boxing. It just all happens on a chair, and you have to keep track. But I just like that because I'm free to talk with people, be as loud as I want, set up cheers, and I love the speed at which it happens. And really, when you're touching that food and it's coming in that box, I mean, if you've been around this for a while, you're realizing every bag, 6 more kids. Every bag, 6 more kids. Every
Wow.
box, 216 kids. And you yell out for a box, it'd take, 2 minutes to pack it. And just like that, there's 200 kids with something to eat. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
yeah.
So those that know me are going to know this is no shock and awe. But I love to be the person that is on the bags under the funnel
Oh,
because personally, I think the bags under the funnel drive the whole station. And those that know me know I like to be in charge. Shock and awe. But
We're all shocked.
but it is like if you can't keep that bag under that funnel and filling it, you're not gonna. And it's so much fun. And Mark knows this. Mark's guilty. He's over here doing tech things that we will have challenges, and nobody is going to pack more than my table.
okay. So now I have not one but 2 people. I cannot work the funnel with Becky or with Amy.
Yes,
Yep.
Becky's Becky loves being on that one too.
The challenge to you now, I'll put to you, is we have a few folks that come into the site on a regular basis that are one-handers.
Oh my!
One-hand bag
Man.
openers. So they have 2 going at a time.
Oh,
And
now
they're
I got to
1,
learn how to do that.
2, 1.
Oh, my
2.
goodness.
So they're opening it, getting it ready, and funneling it with one hand. It's amazing to watch.
The funny part about
Wow.
that is that is the one job I can't do.
I can't either.
I can do the scooping, I can do the weighing, I can do the sealing, the boxing.
It's a skill.
Well, I drop it all the time, without fail. They'll dump stuff in there and
Hey, the crazy thing is, they teach it by saying it's just like opening a bag of potato chips. I'm like, I should be a pro at that.
Right.
I can still. I guess my hand is so busy going for the chips, I've never tried to put it back on a funnel before. So
oh, that's great. Okay, so Sarah had one more question, and then we'll get all the info for the mobile pack and everything. She would like to know. We're backing up a little bit. I missed her text earlier. She would like to know why 9 to 5 is not in the song rotation at the events.
Sarah loves Miss Dolly.
chances are, this is probably the reality of it, that most of the staff that works at FMSC that's put together those playlists is too young to know who Deli Parton is.
We might have to
Fair
add
enough.
that to our mix.
And we don't want anybody leaving before 5 o'clock either.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
other thing.
We're going past 5.
That's
Yes,
true.
yeah.
That's true.
We're working 5 to 9.
Great
love
question,
it.
though. Great
5
question.
to 9, that's good.
So, all right, let's hear all the info for the rest of today, and then the packing event that's coming up at the beginning of 2022.
You bet. Well, thank you, That Podcast, for having Dave and I on. Thank you for listening to us today, joining us in live and in person, and those that will hear this when we release this episode later. But we are raising funds, the Feed the 5,000 Telethon for the Fargo MobilePack for Feed My Starving Children. Our goal is to pack 2 million meals, which will feed 5,479 kids for an entire year. And the cost for all of that is $480,000. That is the grocery bill to pack 2 million meals. So we are working to raise $480,000 as quickly as we can so we can get those groceries bought and here. And we will pack in February 2022, February 2nd through the 5th at Shields Arena. You can learn more at fmsc.org/Fargo. You can give there. You can follow along about when to sign up to register. We are taking large volunteer groups now, so like anything over 50 people in your group, you can notify me. There's my information's right on the website, fmsc.org/Fargo, and reach out about volunteering. But now we would love for you to give and rise to the challenge to feed the 5,000. You can do that fmsc.org/Fargo, or you can call us at 701-237-9651.
Fantastic. Dave, thanks for making the trip up here.
Always a pleasure. Great to be in Fargo, and just love the heart for FMSC. It's just great to work with you guys.
That's fantastic.
We need to come back and do the podcast sometime and talk some theology sometime, though. That'd be fun.
I would love that.
That'd be fun.
It warmed my heart so much as I'm working this morning and I see your silhouette walk by my door. I'm like, Dave's here. Yes. Today's going to be a good day.
Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate that.
All right.
Pastor Packer, that's what we'll call him.
Yeah, perfect.
Dave Gunnlaugsson, thank you so much. Somebody like to close us out in prayer?
I'll pray. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Let's pray. Gracious God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for what you are doing through Feed My Starving Children, through the MobilePack, through this telethon, through your people all around the world that are coming and loving on each other and sharing the love of Christ in order to bring life-saving food to people around the world who are in great need. And Lord, thank you for bringing this word to us, that we can be a part of it, that we can be a part of gathering the resources that are needed to pack these meals, to get them to people, and to feed them for a whole year. And so, Lord, we humbly seek your guidance and give you thanks for the people who are hearing and partnering to make this happen. Let this go forth. May your love, may your goodness, may your gospel go forth with the gift of food. All of this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you all for joining us today. As always, this weekend, you can find us on atonement.live, atonementfargo.org, or on the YouTubes by searching Atonement Fargo for services at 9 a.m. and 10:30. That's a tradition service and a modern service, 9 and 10:30. You can find all of our past content on YouTube by searching Atonement Fargo. So for Pastor DJ Lura, Amy Okeson, Dave Gunnlaugsson, and Sarah DeYoung, who's right here in front of us.
As always,
I'm Ryan Janke. Join us next time for another riveting episode of That Podcast. Oh, I forgot the music. Sorry.